Hi, I'm Riley, and this is my dad, Dane.
Hi. Welcome back to Repair to Rev by Hemmings. We're working on this OBS truck. We just got the brakes taken care of. And on any vehicle that's this old, 30 years, going on 30 years, you got to start looking at the rubber parts.
You see, the tie rods move a little bit. The inner and outer are going to need to be touched up a little bit. And we got a leaking shock, which is never good.
Never good. I also noticed some dry rot on the sway bar end links. So if you got something going on one corner of the truck, you're gonna do both sides no matter what. Just check the rubber everywhere. I see some other spots that need some love, but we can knock these out pretty quick.
Yeah.
The first thing we gotta do is cut these cotter pins off, so why don't you go grab some clippers.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. This one's not such a big deal because when this drops, it's gonna catch on the A-arm, but some of them are really long. And if you take that nut off completely,
Hammer
the thing
time.
will come swinging.
I thought you were gonna dance.
Let's try not to.
It's fine.
Smack
Can I
it
go
off.
this way?
As hard as you can. Go. One more. There it is. That's it. That's it. So that, stop hitting it. So that shock is what breaks that taper loose. All right, that's off. While we're here, we could probably just take the end link off the sway bar.
Okay.
And we'll leave the shock for now.
First, we want to get the steering box and show where the problem is on the pitman arm. The box is way up in there, so we decided to get the sway bar out of the way just to give us more room to work. Then we can get off the lower skid plates and reveal the old steering box. It's always a good idea to wear eye protection when you're working underneath a car, because you never know what's going to fall into your eye. Then you got a bigger problem than the pitman arm.
Ooh, little oil leak. The pitman arm on the end of the steering box is what's failed. When you use big tires, big wheels, especially if you're going off-road, that is the one point that your entire steering goes through, and so it does wear out. And you noticed when we had the wheel on and we wiggled it, that's what we were showing was failed. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to get to, unfortunately, so what we're gonna try to do is just swing the steering box down so that we don't have to disconnect the power steering lines, and then we'll get a tool on it and pop that pitman off. The whole thing comes as one piece, so once you get that piece off, you don't have to disassemble it, you just put a new one on.
Just 3 bolts holding the steering box to the frame, and again, we don't want to break the steering lines loose. Just want to make room to change out the pitman arm.
Hey, can we tell Tanner to wash his truck next time? This is ridiculous. Oh, see? I'm dusting you. All right, we're gonna see if we can make this happen. So we were able to get the sway bar out, which was a great idea because it gave us room to then swing the steering box down and get to this big bolt. You can do this bolt by hand, but we have some impact guns, so we're gonna do that. And then I'm holding the puller. So you can get these at any auto parts store. You can actually borrow them from most of the auto parts store, or you can buy one if you need to. So why don't you knock that nut off. Just hold the box up, please. Give me some room. Okay. Once you get it set, you hit it with the other impact gun and a 3/4. Done. That's it. Okay. So that is the pitman arm, and that is the part right here. That's the part that failed. It looks like a tiny bit of wiggle, but that shouldn't move at all. And that little bit of wiggle extended out to both sides means like a good inch or 2 at the ends, which is why his steering was shaky and wobbly. All right, let's go get the new one.
So we have all the old parts laid out on the table, and we're gonna explain what they do. So first we have our pitman arm and we have our idler arm. Our pitman arm goes in like this, and it's for steering, and then our idler arm is for weight.
Yeah, it goes like that, attaches to the frame. Really heavy tires, so that's what holds it up.
And pretty much all this does is moves back and forth like this.
Yep. So we have end links that we're gonna be able to replace, inner and outer tie rods, and a collar. And the reason they're an inner and an outer, they look exactly the same, but the thread pitch is opposite, reversed, so that when you bring it to the alignment shop, all your tech has to do is just turn this one way, and it'll either push both out or pull both in for, it's really smart. So don't get those confused. When you get them home, they look exactly the same, but keep them in their bags until you're ready to go. All right, we're ready to put these on. There it is. Now we do need to use another puller. We're gonna need that socket one more time. I'm gonna do mine and you do yours. Good. Slowly first. Make sure it's bright, then go. Go. That's it. Now what we're going to do is assemble each side and try to get it as close as you can to the length of the one that's already there. That way you're going to be close enough that you're going to be able to get the car to or truck to the alignment shop. But you definitely always want to bring it to an alignment shop after you do this. We've taken so much slack out of the whole system that the alignment's not going to be correct. So first thing is let's clean this up and then let's start building the tie rods.
Okay.
All right? All right, so now that we have our tie rods all laid out, we cleaned up our center link. Assembling tie rods are kind of fun. Basically, all you're going to do is take one tie rod and a collar, and you're going to try to thread it on, and it's not going to go. You're going to go, why isn't that working? Because it's the opposite way. So once you get it threaded, you'll know that the other one goes on the other side in the opposite thread. Once you get a couple of them started, a couple of threads, then you can just turn the whole collar. I'd say I'm pretty close. Are you throwing things at me to slow me down? I'm done.
Oh my gosh, this is not okay.
Never gonna end. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That'll get you to the alignment shop. So now you get a couple of nuts and bolts for your collars. Just go ahead and slip them through your collar. Throw that on, and we'll tighten them down. I think I'm still gonna beat you.
Nope, I win.
So now once you're done with that, we can go ahead and drop them into the center link. What you're gonna do then, grab your castle nut and just push down. Okay, good. And then again, we'll tighten all that down when it's on the truck and make sure to use the cotter pins that it comes with. That is pretty much that for the whole link setup. The rest of this got to go on the truck before we put this in.
Okay, sounds
All right,
good.
let's put this idler arm in first. While the pitman arm is mounted to the steering box, the idler arm is bolted through the frame. The idler arm supports the weight of the steering system. It adds support for the center link and the tie rod on the passenger side of the car. And if you're gonna replace the pitman arm, you should always replace the idler arm at the same time. Okay, good. Now we'll put a torque wrench on it. Come on, muscles. Come on, muscles.
Do it.
You did it.
I know.
Again, pickle jar. You loosened it.
Ready?
Ready? Coming on. Gentle, gentle. Good. Keep coming. Keep coming. There we go. There we go. All right, right there.
The tie rods and center section go in the same way they came out. But we just want to hand tighten the outer tie rods to hold the weight so we can fully tighten the center section and then go back to tightening the tie rod bolts to the proper torque spec. Make sure to use new cotter pins because the old ones are weak and can snap when you take them out. Do you bend the shorter one or the longer one?
You can bend either one. You just want to bend one so that somebody can take it off and then put it back on and they still have another leg to bend later. All right, so you're definitely gonna need two people for this. Someone to hold parts, hand them to you, because you have to assemble this whole thing as you go. All right,
I could assemble it and you could hold the parts. We could swap the roles.
We could, but I'm already here. All right, washer. Thank you.
This is what I normally do.
Spacer.
This is what I've been doing since I was young, because
Washer. This works awesome. Thank you. It's like a doctor. Scalpel. Blue scalpel. Thank you. All right, now we're going through.
You're a little chipmunk.
The sway bar. Like a little squirrel. Thank you. Do I have to say thank you every time? And be polite?
Yes.
Okay, now, this is typical. These bushings are actually brand new, so you can't get enough compression to get a nut up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave it just like this without that top bushing. We're gonna bring the truck down and get some weight on the suspension to get just this little bit of squeeze.
Shocks?
Shocks, yes.
We start with the bottom bolts on all 4 of the shocks while we still have the truck up on the lift.
Just until it stops, and then we'll get compression on.
Do it.
Oh,
Have a
it's
scrape.
fine. It's done. It won't go anymore because the bolt's actually hitting the control arm. Once we get their compression, it'll slide right out.
All right, sounds good.
While the truck's still up on the lift, let's go ahead and get these bolts out of the way. You're gonna need a really long extension and a helper because you're gonna have to get a wrench on the back of that bolt way up high. Have your helper spin them off while you hold the wrench, and then the whole bottom section will come out. You can usually just swing it down and it'll just pop right off. Wow, look at how collapsed this thing is. Ugh, his shock wasn't doing anything. They're not supposed to do that. Take that. Okay, ready to go up?
This upgraded shock for the rear is really going to improve the handling of this truck, especially after how bad those old shocks were. There's literally 0 shock rebound left in the old shocks.
Okay, let me get the other
These
one.
new performance shocks will also help with the weight transfer during braking and when the truck bed is loaded down with extra weight.
Go ahead. Good, one more. Good, okay. Coming down, coming at you.
Next, we can drop the truck and put a jack under the front to get the suspension compressed to remove the bolt on the bottom of the shock and to get access to the top shock bolts.
We'll grab a little hammer and give it some love. Okay, washer and nut. Tighten and tighten. Like 3 ooga oogas. All right, so now that we got the weight back onto the suspension, it's lifted this sway bar up so I can get a nut and a washer onto the end of this end link. We'll throw a 9/16 ratchet underneath and a wrench up there, tighten that up. And it also freed up the shock bolt for the lower shock. Remember, you couldn't get that out. So now the bottom's loose. Now we just got to go to the top and take off the bolt that's on the top and then put a new shock in, tighten down the end link, and we are done.
Awesome.
Let's roll. I need that bolt that just went under the truck. Okay, pull it out. Like that. Not only do these new shocks look great, they're gonna really help the front end of this truck. When you hit the brakes on these heavy trucks, there's a lot of nosedive, and the front suspension needs to work really well. Also, we know that the owner of this truck likes to take it off-road. Well, these shocks are gonna help him on the trails for sure. Okay, I think that's it.
We're done.
We're done, eyes.
We are all finished with the 3 S's of this truck, which are
Steering, suspension, and stopping. Those are the 3 things you should do on every project car.
And I'm really happy with the outcome. Everything looks nice. It did take us a bit. It was a little difficult here and there, but nothing we couldn't handle.
No, I mean, listen, anytime you're doing suspension and steering, you're gonna get pretty dirty many times, wash a lot. But ultimately, it is done. Everything went on. There's no more play in his steering at all.
No play at all.
So
The shocks are replaced. Their shocks weren't even shocking.
No, they were gone. They were just empty tubes, actually, at that point. So he's gonna feel an instant difference. This thing's gonna ride fantastic.
You know, I would love to test this out. There's mud tomorrow because it's raining.
It's raining tonight, so yeah, there'll be mud tomorrow. We are gonna have to run this through a car wash.
That is totally fine by me.
Because these are beautiful, and I'd like
That is
Tanner
totally
to see them
fine by
looking
me.
that way. All right, well, last thing we gotta do is just put the tires on.
Yeah.
All right, let's go do that.
Okay.
All right. Oh, hey, killer. Hello? Dude, hey, come on. Oh, we lost the glove box. Easy, killer. What are you doing? Jeepers, criminy. What are you doing?
It feels awesome. From driving in it before.
Yeah. I mean, you knew this truck before.
Yeah, and it was bad.
Yeah, it was wore out.
Yeah,
But
that's a good word to pick.
I think he's gonna be real happy with the work we did.
You hear that?
Yeah, that's normal when you got brand new brakes. They're still seating. So they're gonna make it sound a little grindy, but they're actually okay. That's just them bedding in.
I think.
Look at you playing with the steering. All right, easy.
I think all his friends are gonna see this and want to have us do all theirs.
All their trucks too.